Donald Trump was a birthday boy on Saturday and nobody came to his little birthday party. Donald Trump was a guy in the White House, man. Donald Trump was trying to have a Kim Jong-un birthday party this weekend, and it failed utterly. All weekend, if you weren't doing tile like I was, you probably didn't. You may have been at the No Kings protests, which are the current largest protests in American history. Don't get too fucking excited because we said that about the George Floyd protests. And this is going to kill you to know, but they did not end police brutality. Fucking sucks, I know. But hopefully, if you're out there protesting, turn this into a time to get people to register to vote or register to own a firearm. Okay? I do something a little bit more proactive than just walking around. I respect walking around. Going for a walk is good. Okay? If we had a healthier society, there would be this many people walking around in these cities all the time. But Donald Trump's little parade did not have people show up. I think they thought there was going to be a major protest movement against it, but they just went somewhere the fuck else. And apparently so did everybody else. Oh, my God, there's a Gorpo. Hi there, Super Chat at $10. Thanks for talking about the topic. Here's my apology money for making you do a lot of work for it. I'll do better in the future when it comes to sources for content suggestions. No, you did a good content suggestion. There's never going to be one where I'm like, nothing. If I had to do a bunch of stuff, it's because that was a good suggestion. Your glorious mistake led to education. But it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Donald Trump, big booty ass cheeks, big shitter glitter. He had his little birthday party and it failed hilariously. Like nobody went. It was boring. Someone was doing Lizzo karaoke. I hope it wasn't Lizzo. But I remember seeing some TikTok of people like, this sounds like shit. And it sounded like some white lady singing Lizzo. So Lizzo, if that was you performing there, I just want you to know you threw some mayonnaise on that one. And if it wasn't, that shit was pure mayonnaise. But people were asking me about the Army. So this is kind of going the rounds right now. And this is the Army, the United States Army, walking and doing this is an inspection. So they're doing, you see them all looking to the left right here? And people were asking if this is them phoning it in or if they're just bad at it. And we're going to talk about it for a second. I like this too, because this guy's a Medal of Honor recipient, and he looks like he really just doesn't want to be there. This is a Sergeant Major, I guess. Army Sergeant Major, maybe? Somebody.
Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska is the home to America's Arctic Angels, who execute expeditionary operations worldwide, conduct multi-domain operations in the Indo-Pacific Theater and the Arctic, and on order decisively defeat any adversary in extreme cold weather, mountainous and high-latitude environments through large-scale combat operations. The Angels are...
shout out, this is from Fox 4 Dallas Fort Worth. I don't feel too bad snagging some footage because I don't know how the fuck else you would get it. It's going to be a DOD place, so it's going to be pool photography type deal, but still credit.
The Army's only Arctic division. Masters of Arctic Warfare, the 11th serves worldwide in all climates. Established in November of 1942, the Angels of the 11th Airborne Division led the way in the Philippines during World War II and spearheaded an amphibious invasion of Luzon and distinguished themselves during the liberation of Manila.
Oh my God, Manila, Luzon mentioned. Pride. I'm sorry, this is a Pride parade now. Manila, Luzon was mentioned. That's a cut. What is that? A season 10 cut? Maybe 11? I can't remember when Manila, Luzon was on there.
A period spent inactive and stationed in Germany from 1963 to 65.
This is the most bag of ass formation I've ever seen. I have no idea why they're curving like this.
After periods spent inactive and stationed in...
See, we got some other people. Drone guys walking around with some fucking electric guitar. I don't know what. My man's got the strap up. Are these Marines actually? That looks like Marpat. No, that's Army. What the fuck? Are they? Is that a fucking like heavy metal cover of fucking Journey? Separate Way? Are they playing Separate Ways? It is. That's Journey. That's if I ever leave you, true love won't deceive you. Though we just went our separate ways, I still love you, girl. I really love you, girl. What the fuck are we? Are we getting seceded, or is the military breaking up with Donald Trump? Why are they playing? I'm just skipping through. I wanted to show the army marching because that's a part. This isn't like planned because I would have never hit that accurately if it was. They're playing fucking Separate Ways. It sounds like a fucking chiptune cover of Separate Ways. That is absolutely fucking bonkers. The dude's just holding the drone? Yes. These guys might be some sort of special operations group, or they finally upgraded because these are the good NVGs with 2 fucking different eyes. I had the old monocular NVGs. They fucking sucked. What do we got going on here? Here we go. Who the fuck are these guys?
The ROTC and the renowned Corps of Cadets. The Corps of Cadets.
There you go. There's Rotzi. Rotzi's marching.
Building
Is this playing at 2?
Individuals that exemplify respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. Students at the university who participate.
I have this on normal speed. But for some reason this is double speeded. This is sped up.
In the Army ROTC earned their commission as officers ready to serve on active duty in the National Guard.
Somebody sped up this footage for some reason before they uploaded it, or after, I don't know why, but it makes them look like they're all marching, like they need to hurry up and finish before they have to take a shit. But I guess, this is probably supposed to all be the Army, right? Because this is supposed to be, it's the 250th anniversary of the Army, which I think is what? No, it's also the 250th anniversary because 1775 Ton Tavern, November 10th, 1775, Marine Corps birthday. I never got to go to a single Marine Corps birthday, so it's ours too. But we, of course, we don't get shit. We never do. Bro, we all gotta go watch this fucking dog shit. I fucking hate being in the military, man. Who's this dildo?
Here in front of y'all, and thank you guys so much for what you guys do. And honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday.
Dude, with all due respect, the U.S. Army cannot gather in any fucking area without looking like a full bag of ass. You guys just look like shit. I gotta tell you that.
The Military Institute can participate in Army ROTC or the Corps of Cadets, while cadets in the Corps.
And this is definitely sped up. Is it that fucking boring? God damn, this is the most empty parade I've ever seen. Here we go. Is that there? Okay, so this has got to be like the Army band, hopefully.
Previously serving Army Band and the oldest unit at West Point, this is the United States Military Academy Band, ladies and gentlemen. West Point Band traces its history to a single drummer and fifer appointed by George Washington during the American Revolution. Over the next 2 centuries, this band evolved into one of the most capable and versatile performing groups in the world.
So these guys are marching. In step, right? So yeah, it all goes back to this. This is the people we're talking about before. These guys are on patrol for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why they have them on patrol. Like, all right, you guys are gonna be in fucking column front, and then you have these dudes. And yeah, these guys are not marching in formation. I don't know why. I mean, they're in formation, so they're doing what you call. It looks like they're doing what you call route step. I don't know if there's an Army term for it, but in the Marine Corps, at least, all right, speaking from my experience, to go anywhere as a unit, you have to go in formation, right? Or you'll get in trouble. Now, you don't have to march because it's, first off, a pain in the fucking ass to do marching. It's actually very difficult because if you're not on roads and shit with right angles and everybody's not kind of like, and you don't have somebody that's good at it, at leading the march is way harder than doing it. Doing it, you just have to do what you're supposed to do. But if you have some dipshit leading it that doesn't know what they're doing, it's very frustrating and it's very embarrassing if you do it wrong. So these guys look like they're doing route step. Now, I looked up Army graduation and they don't look too much different. The Army is a bag of ass. With all due respect, I'll say it 7 more times. They're a fucking bag of ass. They look like shit all the time. And they're not as good as the Marines. And it's just the case. Can these guys march? They should be able to. Marines can march. I guess they really did just steal the Army's whole thing for Trump's birthday party and made it into this deal. But these guys should be marching. And they should be in uniform, in their service uniform for a presidential display. Now, they may have intended to do that in the original one. If I was doing this in the Marines, aside from if the officer said to do it otherwise, they would make us show up in what you call a service uniform, which looks like this, right? Service uniform Marines. I'm not going to bring up the Army service uniform because it looks like shit compared to ours, okay? So what you have is these are service Bravos, okay? So these guys are in service Bravos, which is basically almost the Alphas. You have a tie, right? You have your belt, you have your shoes on, and it's this green color, okay? You're probably used to this. These are blues, even if they're not actually blue. This is your blue Alphas. Blues Alphas, right? This is the full thing. Alphas usually means that it has the full coat on. This is service Alphas, right? You see how it's got this little coat deal, but you got the tie underneath. When you actually work in the Marines, in certain positions, and this is recruit depot, obviously. Fucking look at the drill sergeant there. Really about it. You actually just wear these to work every day, because it's kind of like having a suit to go to work. Sometimes you wear BDUs or camis, whatever you want to call them, and those are just fucking camis, right? Camouflage blouse, belt. You're still supposed to be like together, and the Army, because of the way that their uniforms are, they literally just always look like a bag of ass because their uniforms just fucking suck. Look at these guys. I can't tell if it's the Army or not. Look at my man's got shit in his fucking cargo shorts. I don't give a fuck what rank you are. You're fucking hitting the. You have shit in your cargo pocket in front of the President of the United States of America. You're doing push-ups all day. You are gonna sweat out your disgusting fucking bad habits. But everybody learns to march in the military, as far as I know. The Army's not particularly good at it. But they should be having like their version of this, which looks pretty similar. You wouldn't really be able to tell as somebody that's, in the I think there's like a little bit more like that old version of ours. You wouldn't be able to tell as somebody that's not in the military what is and isn't Marine Corps Army service outside of these blues that we have, which are very iconic, and we have our red stripes on our shorts and stuff, our pants. But I digress. They should be in that for presentation for the President of the United States of America. Now, if he said he wants them to look like this, they should look like this. But they also should have their, basically, their fleet uniform, right? So when I was in, I had a fuckload of outfits. The military is very gay. And with your normal work camis, right, which you wear all the time, those get worn out like nuts. The patterns actually get worn off of them. They have holes in them and shit. And then you have your fucking fleet camis, which are ones that you never wear. You keep them pressed with a little fucking line in it and stuff. And they look very, very sharp. Those and a pair of boots that are like clean. Marine Corps boots are like, we don't have the black boots anymore. That's since like the late 90s. So you have tan boots and shit. But you have all that shit together, and you have a cover that's really creased and pressed, and it's the octagonal cover. Marines have an octagonal, sharp-sided looking cover. The Army wears this fucking like literal diaper thing on their fucking heads, and they look like shit. It's not my fault that your guys' uniforms look like ass. It's yours, okay? You weren't ready to be Marines yet. If you wanted a good uniform, you know what branch of service you should have joined. Now, should they be marching in step at least? Yes. Because they're doing presentation. Do you see these guys looking to the left right here? That is how you mass salute, basically. Sometimes you salute, sometimes you don't. But that's about how you do a walking, present arms, I believe it is. And you basically like, look, And I'm going to show you the Marine Corps version of this that recruits do in a second. But when you're doing that, you should be, and if you're carrying your guide on and stuff, you should be in step. And these guys aren't. Now, because it's the Army, I can't tell if it's because they're a bag of ass or because they're phoning it in. And it might be both. I gotta say, if someone told me to route step in front of the president and I didn't want to be there, I would be route stepping. Route stepping means you no longer step. By the way, I think I forgot to say this. You don't step to time. You're not in cadence. So, normally it'd be like, forward, march, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You know what I mean? Left, 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 right, left. That's the standard. That's a drum cadence. Chop, 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 chop. Official. And then you have like cadence call. I don't know if other branches do that. Marine Corps, we do call cadence when you're marching, because like marching is a big thing. It builds unit cohesion. It teaches you how to learn and do and work together. It's very difficult to do correctly, right? And one of the reasons these guys might be off step is because they're playing music while they're walking. So that's also very difficult. That's a skill you have to learn, is how to stay in step with your actual cadence call if something else is happening. Because, if you hear a separate ways playing or some shit, it's going to be hard to stay on tune. But it's like... low, hard, left, right, left, low, hard, left, right, left, right. And people sing cadence all sort of different ways, right? And that helps you get used to hearing the rhythm inside the song, so to say, so you can kind of do it anywhere. And then you have the ones, little yellow birdie with a little yellow bill. It's running cadence, right? Which is literally double time. So instead of, I think it's like legitimately like 60 steps per minute, step every second, it's like 120. Then you have halftime where you fucking and you have in time or whatever the fuck, in place march. And the reason you have it is so that when you call the cadence, everybody does everything at the same time. So, present arms, port arms, forward march, to the left flank, march, right. On the right flank, march. Because you have to know which foot to call it, because you actually have to call it on the right foot. So some moves where you turn right, you have to call it so that it's called on the right foot, so that you step, right, step, and then you turn to the left, pop. On the left flank, march right, pwop, and you step, cop, shoot, boom, and you go. It's this whole fucking thing, right? Very difficult to learn to call cadence, but you have to do it if you want to be any sort of NCO in the military, so that you can do this, because it's really like showing your respect for the higher ranked people, okay? It'd be very funny that the Army was just doing... I will not say that they were doing this and phoning it in, because you could get in a lot of trouble if you were. It would be kind of hard to get away with it. But I will say, if you just, via orders, ended up looking like a gigantic bag of ass like this, it would be fucking hilarious. It'd be very, very funny. But they are doing a present. See them all looking to the left, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is just recruits graduating from MCRD Paris Island. Show this shit. So this is what I mean. Like, when you do anything official, you're supposed to have official uniforms on. I guess they get to fucking graduate in blues now. Full blues, which we did not have. Unless these are the exemplary recruits. They get free blues, and I guess you can buy them too if you want. But we didn't get them when I was in during the surge. I graduated in blue alphas? No, I think I graduated in service alphas. Either service alphas or blues bravos, right? Which is, I think I might have said Charlie's earlier. I meant to say bravos. Charlie's has short sleeves. But yeah, you get the white belt and the whole thing. I never owned this uniform because you have to buy it yourself, or at least you did when I was in. And I never needed it because I was deployed 3 times and I never went to a single Marine Corps ball because I was on deployment training. I was in 29 Palms doing fucking combined arms exercises in Iraq, whatever the fuck. So I never owned a blues alpha. There's no pictures of me in blues alphas that are real, because even the one in boot camp is just a piece of Velcro shit. But this is what this marching is supposed to look like in a general sense. And this is a standardized type of marching kind of around the world. Where you guys coming out? Right here. Passing in review. That's what I meant to say. I don't know if somebody actually answered that, but you're passing in review. So this is what it looks like. This is a standard Marine Corps recruit training graduation. Shout out to whoever uploaded this. I think it's just like a... Okay, Uzmo Life. Thank you very much for uploading this so I could see it. I've been on... This is the Paris Island parade deck. I have been tortured right here. I fucking burned my feet to a crisp walking around in fucking uniform here. But this is what passing in review looks like. And it's probably one of the oldest traditions that exist militarily in the Western world, and a lot of Eastern, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, non-Occidentalists have adopted this same sort of thing. It goes all the way back to like Romans and shit. The reason horses can do dressage and stuff is for this. And it's literally so that you can review the troops, so that you can see how good they look. If you have the president, even on No King's Day, reviewing your troops and they look like a bag of ass, it's a massive humiliation. Whether or not they were phoning it in on purpose, it is a humiliation. Because this is what it's like for just the commanding officer of Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, to have his literal troops in review who are recruits who have been doing this for a total of 13 weeks. This is 13 weeks. This is how solid they look. You see them all hitting that turn? And so as you see them walking, right, they don't have those quite gigantic flags because these are nobodies, right? This is a recruit training battalion. So this is the battalion, recruit training battalion guidon, this flag. This flag is an ancient military tradition, if you don't know anything about it. And it represents the successes and glories and such of your unit. This is a recruit training guidon. It doesn't have shit on it. Maybe sometimes, I don't know if they always do this. I think ours had like, if you do like one good thing in training, it's okay. But because it's a training battalion, it is permanently disintegrated after you're good as a unit by sort of like military like rules or whatever. And so your guidon is restarted at the beginning every time because basically you don't want ever to have a recruit training battalion, you know, with all these honors and stuff over an actual battalion. My battalion's guidon, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines guidon, was resplendent to say the least, because you get shit for everything. Let me see if they have 2/8 guidon. 2/8 guidon. Oh, they're perfect. Here we go. You can sort of see it. So this is the 8th Marine Regiment. This is the regimental guidon. Open image in new tab. So you can see how, like, they don't have the whole thing. Do you see how much shit is on this fucker? Right? It's completely loaded up, and it's this whole big deal. Sometimes I think even down to the tassels that are on it and the colors that are permitted on it show you all this stuff that the unit's done. So like they get fucking heavy. One of my favorite stories is a dude who none of us liked, who was dying because it's an honor to carry the guidon. And he fought for it, and then he got to do it at regimental changeover, which means he had to be at present arms. Present arms! So you'll see these guys do it if I keep this going on. But this just goes forward and hangs down, so you can see everything that's on it. And when you do present arms, right, you also like hold out swords and shit. It's so you can literally see that everybody's like strapped. This is for back in the day when you had a king, literally, they'd be like, all right, I need to make sure, I want them to pass and review so I can see that they all have uniforms. They look like they are not a bag of ass, and I want to see who they are and what they are. That's why you do this. So I'll let this kind of go in the background while I'm going. I'll turn it down. Oh, shit. You don't need to hear all the fucking music. Just understand it goes top, top, brap, brap, brap. And then there's other stuff played over. This is a fucking drill instructor. Do we have them? Okay, yeah, right here. We'll start passing in review. All right. Do you see how they're toying and they're looking like this? He actually does it. Let's see if we can see them go to present arms. So before, the drill instructors are going to be walking, and I don't know why, but they got the thing up. You see how he pulls the sword out and shows? So normally they're walking with that up on their shoulder if you see him before. And then when he goes, present arms, the sword gets held down like that. The guidon gets held out in front like this. Hopefully it doesn't furl. And then the side unit, they look straight. That's the 4th squad, so that they can stay and not fall. And then everybody else looks to the right, right? Da-da-da. And so that's so that you can see all the faces of the people. You can see their uniforms. You can see that they march in lockstep. This is the point of it. It's a military tradition that exists in basically like throughout. We didn't invent this, right? I think our specific version was adopted from French forces in the 1700s and became our own thing. It's like, you know, different types of salutes around the world and all that sort of shit too. Oh, my bad. Fuck me. Sorry. Let's go back. So yeah. This is the sword, right? See how he's presenting arms? He's got the guide on straight forward like that. Has that not been on the screen the entire fucking time? I hope that's not the case. So this is present arms. He's got the sword down like this. All the guys are looking over and that guide on straight instead of going up and down. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to kind of just like twist it a little bit so that it unfurls so that the name of your unit, which will be on there. So far as it'll be 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines when I was in the fleet with our little logo and stuff, it'll hang down. And then the top of this thing will be just a fucking panoply of shit. And that's your guidon. And stealing guidons from other units is like an ancient tradition, or like maybe there's signs and stuff. And go rob these motherfuckers. Just rob the shit out of them. Dressage is pronounced dressage. Dressage, by the way. Fuck that. Dressage. Hell no. Did I show you guys the fucking guide on too? Did I miss that part? This is what this looks like. Boink. All right, this is the 8th Marine Regiment guide on, which means this is probably regimental ops, which means my one of the places I used to live is back there. But you see the fucking size of this goddamn thing? All of those little banners and shit, those are all campaigns that the units participated in and major awards and stuff. And then even down to like these fringes and shit are all part of everything. I can't remember it all, but like people that know about flags know. And this thing is heavy as fuck. This thing is heavy as shit. All right. It is fucking like laden. And it's got a big old fucking pike on top of it. So that's a trivia thing you have to memorize. What weapon's been in use? The longest weapon in use in the Marine Corps or the U.S. military. It's the fucking head, the pike on the guidon, the sharp part. You would stab people with this fucking thing, but basically back in the day, you would hold this up so that the fucking guy, whoever's directing the military operation in the moment, can see where your battalion is and how far forward they are, right? And sometimes these would get captured. People would trade for them. You go all the way back to Rome, and you have the Roman eagle on top of a big-ass fucking stick. You know, same kind of deal. I pulled it offline. I pulled it off again. You have the Roman eagle on a big-ass stick, all that type. But then, yeah, you look at these guys, and they're just bumbling down, kind of wandering. And yeah, they're at present. That's their guide on for this unit. I guess they can't do present arms because their fucking flag's too big and the guy's too fucking short, but they have all their stuff hanging off. Then you can see they're doing present. So these guys are going straight, and these guys are all looking left. So they should be in step, but they're just not. And I can't tell if it's because the army is a bag of fucking ass or not. I mean, my man's out here in a fucking neck gaiter. What is going on? They're completely out of fucking ranks. I don't know if this is an army thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squads deep. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing that happens. In the Marine Corps, it's almost always 4 in a column. I could be not, maybe, well, let's see, how's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 9 is 81. So that's probably the entire company. So that's a company formation. That might be why they're fucking up. I don't think I've ever done no, I've done company formations, but I don't think we marched in them ever because it's impossible to fit them anywhere except for maybe a street this big. So you march in platoon, which is 4x, and then you kind of link up. So you go click, and then click, and then click, and then click in. This is a crazy mix. About 100 people is a weird amount too. I don't know. They might have some people that are hanging back. What? They're just so all over the place. The fucking army. This is a bluth. That is a bluth. Oh my God. Just absolutely fucking boogers. I respect the shit out of it. Good for you guys though, all right? Hey, service members support service members. There's even rules for vehicles. And I've seen vehicles in parade before. I don't think I've never driven one, but those, you're supposed to have the vehicles all in the same deal too. I think the fucking, with the tanks, the gun goes up and down. It's a whole deal, but they're supposed to be, they get arranged in a certain way. They're all supposed to be a certain distance. It's about showing discipline and control over your troops. This is, I really want to hammer home how bad this is for Trump. I know that people not showing up is one thing, but he's a guy that unnecessarily fired people from the military, which damages unit cohesion. And to have a parade that looks this bad, even if no one went, that's fine. Most people don't go to military parades. They generally tend to be for the military. But as a commander-in-chief, having troops pass and review at looking like this is not good. It does not display strength. It does not display cohesiveness, coherence of message. The guys kind of being all over the place, holding drones and shit. It looks like shit. And there is no excuse that, like, oh, it's the old military and da-da-da. We're wearing uniforms. We use the ranks. There's no reason that you're not marching, and there's no reason that you're not incorporating new elements into your march. If you have a Marine artillery unit and you tell them, we want your artillery unit to be part of the parade and you will be moving the artillery, the fucking command of that artillery unit is going to be, if they don't already know how to do this, they are going to be racking their fucking brains to make sure that arty looks crisp, clean, spotless, and is arranged perfectly as it goes down the street. They are not going to permit for a second themselves to be humiliated in front of the President of the United States. You know what I mean? And they're like, I think I've heard people, is Philip DeFranco is like, we don't have marching corps in the United States military. We do. The Army Band is a marching corps. The Army Band should be probably leading this. I don't know. Well, I guess whoever's your honor guard, I think, is supposed to be leading it. I can't remember the arrangement. The units should be tighter together. They should be denser. And they should not look like shit. I really can't hammer that home enough. We do have dedicated ceremonial marching troops. I know for a fact that the Army has ceremonial troops because they guard the tomb of the unknown soldier and they do their insanely long 24-hour watches where the guys hallucinate dead guys to talk to them. But they also do stuff, I believe, at Arlington and all over the place. So those guys should be a part of it because we do have, I really can't hammer this home enough, ceremonial marching units in the military. If this wasn't going to just be the Army's thing that he stole, the president has the president's own, which is part of the Marine Corps band, and the 8th and I drill team, silent drill, and just 8th and I in general, who deal with his presidential guard details and are like some of the most on-it units on Earth. Like, they can compete worldwide if they do that kind of thing with how, like, on it they are. And it's fine to have those. It's actually good, in fact, to show military force in a way that's spectacle and not terror, right? Which is what they do. You know, you could tell, like, okay, hey, you know, we do this sort of thing, but like we're really good about maintaining discipline. Like, that's the kind of the point of it, is that saying, like, yeah, these guys are dangerous and we're teaching people to be killers and to use weapons of war, but they are all on the strictest leash. They are disciplined, they are self-controlled, they are respectful, and they know their rank all the way up to the top, to the point where they show extreme deference to the ranks above them, which lets you know that if someone tells them to shoot, sure, somebody will start shooting, but you can do that to any fucking group of idiots with a gun. You can tell them to stop shooting and they'll stop. You know that the ceasefire command is built into these guys somewhere. That's kind of the point of forward march and halt. Halt is harder than forward march. Forward march, you take a step. Halt, you take two. Click, clack. And you step at the same time. It's what it sounds like when you're marching. It's fucking very intense. And it shows unit cohesion, right? And that's the point of it. It's very humiliating to go to a parade that looks like this. The commander that's in charge of this thing should be like losing their fucking mind. I could not imagine the Marines looking like this. Even if we hated them, the guy that you're marching for, you don't show your ass. You don't show your ass in front of the enemy. You don't do piss baby performative politics when you're in the military, okay? It's cold, clean, professional, and on it every time. Like, you could maybe do something like, we're going to look away from him or something. That would be shocking to see, you know what I mean? In a thing, but you don't like go out looking like you're not good at your job, which is to look good doing your job. When the eyes of the world are on you, you do not make a single mistake. That's kind of so much the point of like these military parades and stuff, and why they do them. Even why North Korea would do it. The thing that North Korea does that we don't do is not the parade. I mean, it's a waste of time and effort. The thing that North Korea does that's bad is they make people go cheer for it, which you're kind of pushing Trump in the direction of, loading the crowd up. That's what they do that's bad, all right, that we see from the outside. And we say that's a bad thing to do, is make people applaud for the military. If no one wants to go and be happy about it, that's fine. But the military itself should not be taking it on itself to protest ever. Not in that venue especially, right? There's other better ways and smarter ways to do it. I won't get into that. But like, you look good. You put your shit together. Your uniform is crisp. Everybody's on the same message. Having a guy walk around with a drone over his head is fucking wild. Especially when you could be like flying the drones like China does in its drone demonstration to show that they're really effective. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. You can march at port arms or, march at attention with a rifle, even if it's got kit on it, because I know I've done it. It's not fucking hard. I did it with a fucking M16A4 with like Surefire and a fucking hand grip on the goddamn thing. It was a pain in the fucking ass, but I can shoulder that cocksucker. You know what I mean? You don't need to be walking around on civilian streets with a 3-point sling at the ready. You know what I mean? Or even at the patrol. Like, first off, it doesn't look good and civilians won't understand. You also look like you're about to use the gun to shoot somebody, which you're not supposed to do when you're on parade, because you're supposed to show people that you're home and I'm here to look good with a weapon that probably isn't loaded, but I want to show you the lethality that I possess without holding the gun like I'm going to shoot you with it. It's not the easiest thing to hammer home, but it's really like there's a lot of layers to how fucking incompetent this parade is. It might speak to the military itself, or at least the army in this case, but I'm not sure. I want to show you though one last thing. This is Paris Island, U.S. Marine Corps. This is the silent drill team. So like, I don't know why. I don't know why Philip Frank, maybe I misunderstood, but we have ceremonial marching orders, right? 8th and I is the Marine Corps' one. All of them can get together. We have the silent drill team as a part of it, but the President's own, I believe, is a part of 8th and I as well. Even if they're not, the body removal team, the people that actually go and do orders to go, they do the ceremony of taking coffins off of fucking planes and shit. Those guys are a part of it. Everybody that works at the White House is part of 8th and I. It's, I think, actually a street. 8th and I, the Marine Corps barracks at Naval Station, whatever the fuck, Naval Station DC. I think 8th and I is actually the street address. I could be wrong about that, but that's where they work, right? All the time. And so like this is what these guys look like. Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C., 8th and I, evening parade, August 24th, 2012. Some of these guys probably went to boot camp with me. So I have it on mute, but there's nothing really to hear. Let's see all these guys do this shit. Shit's fucking cool as hell. So what you can't quite see if you're not watching this strictly, these have bayonets on them. The bayonets, I believe, are always sharp. When they're doing that spinning move, they're spinning it between the ranks of the guys next to them. So like, This guy is close enough to hit with this, but they're so in control of their steps that they're spinning a fucking bayonet in between the guy next to him. And I believe all the rest of these guys are probably 8th and I as well. You can tell 8th and I guys, they get their fucking white pants, I guess, instead of the blues with the red stripes. But like everybody in the Marine Corps, these guys all, I think, have to be infantry designation. I almost went to 8th and I, but I got sick in boot camp. Not because I'm special and any other reason that I'm 6'4". That's it. If you go infantry when you're in boot camp and you have a minimum GT score of like X, whatever it is, you go infantry, you're between 6 foot and 6'4", I believe, actually. You can't be much further out of that. 6 foot and 6'4", infantry designation when you sign up and you have a certain GT score, they'll select you for 8th and I. Basically, like, you don't just go to it. You still got to complete School of Infantry, but then you can go to 8th and I school after that. And they make sure that you keep your fucking nose clean. Like they're on you like fucking white on rice after that. Guy that I was in SOI with, I got sick in boot camp, so I'd missed my designation and you just get taken off of it. Cause the slots are so like limited. A guy I went to high school with did go to 8th and I, and he went to School of Infantry with me. He was there. And then after, I knew 2 guys actually now that I say, but he was just after me. He was just after me from Ohio, and he was at Camp David. He was a Camp David guard, and he had to literally go and jog with fucking George W. Bush every day. That's what his job was. For the first 2 years, he was in the Marines, and then he transferred to a combat role. I got sick in boot camp, so no 8th and I for me, sad to say. But yeah, the qualifications: 6 foot tall, minimum GT score, and then don't get sick. Also, I guess is a qualification too. Another guy I was in with, he got selected for body team because he had the appropriate body mass, and they basically paid for his fucking protein while he was in SOI, and they're like, do not get injured, and you are on a special exercise regimen because you're going to be carrying fucking caskets for probably the entire rest of the time that you're in the Marines. You guys are like, all right. And that's it. So you can have that, and you should. These ceremonial details are a massive part of the military. The only one I think maybe that wouldn't have one necessarily is maybe the Air Force, because they're from like, you know, almost 120-ish years or something like that after everybody else. But still, the Navy has a bunch of these too. The Navy has a ceremonial flight crew. The fucking Blue Angels are for doing that specific thing. Yeah, they use them for recruiting, but they're also to show precision, capability. If we train guys to do this specific thing, we can. We can train people to do anything. Here's a weird, neat thing that works here that we'll train someone for. That's the point of these deals, right? That's the thing. Unbroken tradition, being really, really capable, and having people do repetitive stuff over and over again until they're fucking perfect at it. That's a universality through most Western style militaries, and definitely all of the ones that people that are like, you know, hardcore internet communists are afraid of, that kick the shit out of your military at some point, with a few notable exceptions. But even though a lot of your militaries do the same thing, you do dressage, you do review, and you do all of these techniques in order to fill in the foundation that putting a shooter on it comes from, right? If you want good shooters, if you want good killers, if you want good arty guys and fucking, you know, trans IT specialists and all this stuff, it's founded on this idea of uniformity and greatness of purpose. People are like, oh, you're not much of an individual. Oh, what? You learn to march in a formation? You have no idea how hard it is. And yes, you as an individual have to become exemplary to be part of a group. You do. Everyone that you know that's like, I pride myself on my individuality, I would never join the military because I'm such a great individual, usually is bad at everything. Almost every single person I've ever met that's like, I'm way too unique to have ever joined the military and like want to be like really proud of it, has basically led a life of constant failure and self-aggrandizement. You know what I mean? Because really putting your own comfort usually aside in order to focus on being part of a greater whole, that is like a fundamental thing. I got to have you just walk together and listen to somebody and everybody do the same thing at the same time with the help of rhythm is a very important foundational piece of being in a bigger group together. Think of it in sports terms too. If you've ever played sports, if you've seen people play sports, think of people doing drills. All right. All four of you are going to do suicides. I want you going as fast as you can. All right. Boom. Or all four of you guys are going to come up off that line together and you're going to hit this fucking pad and you're going to push this pad 25 yards in 5 fucking seconds. I'm going to see that. I'm going to see it now. Ready? Boop. Do-do-do. Boom. Hit. Do-do-do. Boom. Hit. Why? Because that's how you become part of a team. It's a foundation of organization. Can you act as one in order to accomplish far more than you as individuals can? Like, getting people to believe that being an individual that's better than a group is the fucking most op shit I think I've heard from leftists entirely. Because people I want to organize. I want to go out and organize. And then when you start telling people like, well, would you sacrifice being part of an organization and being noticed in order to make it work better? Would you stop participating in order to make something work better? Would you quit? Would you throw yourself on your sword? You know what I mean? If you really wanted leftism to happen, would you be willing, as part of an organization, to make everybody think that you were a psycho fascist in order to get leftism? Or would you consider your personal sacrifice to be greater than the needs of the whole? And like, people don't get that. That's why you're going to fucking lose to individuals like this, because they can even put it aside for half a second. Now, the American military needs to look good on the world stage because they have more important things to consider than, you know, some fucking cat obsessed lefty on Reddit. You know what I mean? They got to hopefully be able to, if Britain goes crazy, destroy Britain. You know what I mean? You got to be able to repel fucking this state, that state, whatever. That's the big things. Well, then why do they keep fighting these little guys? Because you got to be able to fight everybody. The big guys are scared enough to know that if they go and scrap, they're going to lose so much shit and set themselves back so fucking far that it's not fucking worth it. The little guys have nothing to lose but their chains. They're going to be the ones that fucking scrap the most, which is based on their part. That's the point, right? The American military wins every fight that people are too afraid to have with it, which you really just cannot fucking get people to comprehend. And you need to get to that point if you want to be on the world stage with America. If you want to be China, as China is now, you have to get the Chinese military to the point where people that are around China aren't going to try to fuck with China or Chinese interests because China wins every military engagement that they don't have to fight. That's a win. It really is. You don't think it is, but it is. Every time someone goes, do we want to go into Chinese territorial waters and start taking fish? And then they don't do it. That's a win for Chinese military, the Chinese military. Every time someone thinks of us, that's a win. You don't know because people just hyper fixate on two stupid fucking things that a bunch of idiot fucking Republicans did every fucking time in order to force some sort of political conclusion in a different direction. You focus on those things like, losses. Like, no, dude, the military is winning when it doesn't fight. It really is the case because you can see what happens to all of these other countries that don't have robust militaries or have a fractured civilian population that doesn't want to go with one side or the other. It doesn't consider someone the actual occupational authority of this country. You can get in there and you can do whatever the fuck you want because America can protect itself from a SEAL Team 6 style incursion, which means that they don't happen here. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to worry about somebody building up this, like, just going to Wisconsin and then turning Wisconsin into a different sub-country because we can quell that. So people don't do that or they have to go crazy. Whereas the American military can go into whatever nation and start building up a fucking whole-ass banana republic because you don't have the military capability to stop it, which means you're losing every fight that your military loses. You only get to lose the one time, really. If America loses multiple wars, America is fucking doing really good. I don't know if you've ever heard of the country of Iraq, but they had a family that was in charge of it. They fought a few wars and did this and that, and then they lost the one war, and now they don't exist anymore. That's what losing a war actually is. Everything else is like political actions that aren't fucking being completed. You lose or you win every war that you don't have to fight. I'm not fucking kidding. That's not an arguable thing. if you're going to take that out into the internet and be like, oh, let me just fucking navel gaze, the people you can walk past to talk about that are going to be the greatest military minds of the earth, who are not all a bunch of dickhead white people. Go to fucking Salahuddin will tell you right now, every fucking scrap I didn't have to get into because people were afraid of my fucking army, I won. Every time somebody didn't try to push Akka because I was even in the area, I won. Every time I approached and they fled before I got there, I won. Why? Because that's what the victory is. The victory condition isn't just killing their soldiers. The victory condition is what we decided the victory condition is.